Hi guys, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, madam.
Great. Let me just start. All right. So first of all, I can see the students. Yes. Welcome to DurgaSoft. First, let me just introduce about myself for a while, and then we will start understanding about SQL today. Okay. So I'm Divya. I have about 8+ years of experience into data analytics. I completed my master's in data science, and I have experience in teaching all the data science subjects like SQL, Tableau, Power BI, Python, statistics, and machine learning. Okay, so with DurgaSoft, I'm teaching, I'm basically training on MySQL and DurgaSoft. Sorry, and Tableau. So, yes, today I was a little bit late. Sorry for this delay, and let's start. Before that, so as you know, the we are going to learn MySQL tool in this course. Okay, so and the course duration is of 35 days. This is the course content which we will follow. Okay, I will show you this course content at the end, in the end of the session. First, directly let me start explaining about what is SQL. Okay, so I'm opening, as I said, we are using MySQL tool. So I'm opening my MySQL workbench. Once we are done with the demo classes, I will show you the installation process of MySQL. Okay, and now once we open it, we can able to see like this local instance. I'm just clicking on that. So this is the user interface of MySQL. Okay, so first you can see something called as schemas towards the left side, right, top left. You can see schemas here. Below schemas, whatever you can see here, that is nothing but the list of the databases. Okay, basically, what is database? In the sense, the place where we will store the data, right? Technically, I can say technical definition is collection of data. We know we are generating lots of data today, right? Every business is running based on the data only, correct? So whatever the business it is, whatever the domain it is, basically it is running, we are generating lots of data out of that business, or normally also in daily in our daily life also we are generating by using some uh, you know social media applications, all of them. Basically, end of the day, the data is generating, right? So every business is running nowadays based on this data only. So as we are generating lots and lots of data on daily basis, definitely we need to have some good systems to maintain the data, right? That is nothing but database. Every company will have their own database where they will store the data. Okay, and then what is SQL in the sense? Normally, full form of SQL is structured query language, as you all know. And what is SQL in the sense? Basically, it is a language which we will use to communicate with the database. Okay. Just now I said database is a place where we will store the data, right? If we are storing the data in somewhere, so whenever we have any requirement, whenever I wanted to see some kind of data, according to that requirement, to basically make the database understand what I want. Okay, I will use a language called as SQL as a medium, I can say. Okay, by SQL, in SQL we will write some queries. We will use this language to communicate with the database. What is our requirement? According to our requirement, we will write something with the help of SQL. Then accordingly we can get that data. Okay, am I clear about what is database and what is SQL, everyone? Basically, in every batch, I'll have some mixed students. So I'll teach everything from scratch. If anyone is completely new to SQL, also they can understand and relate the things, right? So I hope I'm clear about this database and SQL. And actually, if it is possible, could you please tell me about yourself a little bit? Like, are you currently working or are you students? I mean, are you already having some knowledge on SQL, like that? Everyone, Anuradha, Rajan, Rahul, and Sunita, they introduced about themselves already, and the remaining
I have
students.
not any knowledge, madam,
Mhm.
in SQL.
Okay, you're completely new to SQL, right?
New to SQL.
Okay, no problem. That is that is why. Okay, we will teach. I will teach everything from scratch. No problem. Everything is covered here. Okay, and anyone,
I am
yes,
also new
Vishal.
in I am also new in SQL.
Okay, okay, all right. Next, maybe Rajan. All right, that's okay. So the reason why I'm trying to know this in the sense so that I can, of course, whether if maybe as I said, I will get some mixed students, even already working professionals who already worked previously, and who like almost whoever having 7 or 8 years of experience into development also to again to brush up their skills on SQL, they will attend my session as along with them. I mean, as well as even the freshers or even completely any students, any working professionals from the non-IT background, if they are if they are trying to transit there to the IT industry also, again SQL is must to learn subject, right? So like that, in every batch I will have some mixed students. So for that reason I designed my index in such a way that it will be, it covered all the concepts from basics to the advanced. We will start everything from scratch only. Okay, so whoever said they are new to the SQL, you guys understood about what is database and SQL, whatever I said just now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, let's see the user interface of this workbench first. Then slowly we can understand all the things very clearly. Okay, so this is the workbench. Here only we are going to work on it, work for SQL. So as I said, SQL is a language which we will use to communicate with the database, right? So this is basically universally declared language. That is, to maintain the databases, to use the databases, we will use only SQL as a language. But then what is MySQL in the sense? That is a tool to use SQL. Okay. What is MySQL in the sense? We are having so many tools in the market like MySQL, Oracle SQL, okay, SQL Server. Like that, we are having so many tools in the market. So all these tools basically follow this SQL concepts only. End of the day, we will learn all the concepts of SQL only, but which tool we are using to learn SQL is the concept here. Okay, here we are using MySQL tool because this is an open source product. That is, it is freely available for everyone, and that is the reason nowadays all companies are preferring to use MySQL as their MySQL tool. Okay, basically these two tools are products of Oracle company, and SQL Server is a product of Microsoft company. Like that, we are having different tools from different companies. Whatever tool it might be, the subject will be same, SQL subject. Okay, this is one more thing. Now, as I said, This is the user interface of MySQL, and towards the left side you can see something called as schemas here, and below schemas whatever you can see here, this is the list of my databases. Okay, basically once you install the software, by default you can able to see only this database. Once you create any other database, that database name list you can find. Okay, so I, in my system, I created this many databases. That is the reason I can able to see the list here. Okay, and inside a database, suppose I'm having one database called as data analytics. If I'm expanding this, we'll have four sections here. One is tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. We will discuss each one of them slowly going forward. First, we will concentrate on tables. Okay, so basically this is the list of the databases available, and this is the information section. If we wanted to understand, I'm expanding this data analytics database. Basically, I said we store data inside databases, right? Inside databases we will first create tables. Okay, inside tables we will store the data. Okay, and basically how we will store the data in the inside the tables, in the sense in the form of rows and columns. Okay, like this. Let me just open one file, just give me a second. So you can observe this. This is one table name. As I said, SQL is a language which is used to communicate with the database, and database is nothing but collection of data, right? And what we are doing here, first we are inside database we will create tables, and inside tables we will store the data. So you can imagine this as one table. Here I'm trying to store employees data. Employees is my table name. This are my column names. Vertical thing is called as a column. Okay, and horizontal thing is called as a row. That is employee id, employee name, salary, date of joining is column. Okay, table is nothing but it is a collection of rows and columns. Okay, so vertically, whatever you can see, that is called as columns, and horizontally, that is one Raj 70,000 and this date. This is basically a row. This is we have two rows of data in this table now, right? That is the concept. So you can see here. This is at employees is my table name, employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining are my columns, and I entered two rows of data here. In Excel file, we can enter like this, but in SQL, in databases, we need to use syntaxes to create this table. Okay, let's see. Now, so yeah, suppose I said that we will create tables, right? Let me expand some tables. I'm having one employees table here. Here in MySQL, what is the thing is, if I am selecting any table, how many columns are there in that table, and what are all the data types? Going forward, I will explain you detailedly about what is data types and all. But basically, at this point of time, I wanted to mention that this thing, whatever you can see here, bottom left, this information tab, this is called as information tab. Basically, whenever we selecting any table names, we can find the information of that particular table at the bottom. Okay, so in the middle, we can write SQL queries. To open the SQL file or SQL editor, we'll have two options here. Either file, inside file, new query tab. This is basically called as menu bar, and this is toolbar. In menu bar, file option, new query tab. If we open, I can able to open my SQL file. Here only I can write all my SQL queries. Or else we have one more shortcut, that is first option here in the toolbar. Okay, if I am clicking this, again one more file got opened. Okay, this one, this option, right? So now here we can write any SQL queries, and at the bottom whatever you can see, this is the output section. Once we execute any query out, we can find the output here. Okay, now I'm opening this file. So inside this also we are having some options. So basically second icon is save button. You can see after writing anything inside SQL file, any queries, if we want to save that after writing anything, if we want to save this file, we will basically click this icon, second icon. Okay, then this by using this we can just save this file in our systems. And the first icon, folder icon, whatever you can see here, already saved files, if we want to open, we will click this folder icon. Okay, so like this, if I'm clicking the folder icon, you can see it is allowing me to open any of the SQL files which I already have in my system. I can click on open. I got the file like this, right? I'm opening the next file here. So that is about it. Folder icon and save icon. Third icon is important. After writing every statement, any statement, if we want to execute, we need to click this button. Okay, third icon. So for now, these three are enough. Going forward, we can see about remaining options. Okay. Right. So in menu bar also we are having some more options which we will see going forward. Okay. Now let's start. So SQL, as we know, SQL in the sense structured query language. Okay. That is nothing but SQL is a language, as I said, used to communicate with the database, right? Okay. Uh, now before, let's create our first database now, but before creating database, let me tell you some points here. Okay, first point, SQL is, I can say MySQL is case insensitive. That is, I can write uppercase or lowercase. That is, lower, I mean, normally in upper letters or lower letters, capital letters or small letters, that would be okay, right? Anything is fine because MySQL is case insensitive. We can use anything, that is okay, right? This is one point. And another point here, we have something called as comments. That is, if you observe here, every time whenever I'm writing something, I used one symbol here, like two hyphens, right? That is nothing but a comment symbol. Here we have something called as comments in every programming language. That is, whatever we will write inside comments, that is not executable. Okay, so if we don't want to execute something, if we want to write it as maybe a notes or else in code also, after writing, if we don't want that to execute, basically we will mention comments before that line. Suppose here I wrote just a kind of notes here, right? I wrote some textual data just to make you understand this. You can consider this as my notes. So as this is a notes, now I don't want to execute. This is not a query. I don't want to execute this. That is the reason I wrote inside quotes. Okay. That is inside comments. Okay. So like that in MySQL also we are having comments. There are two symbols. One is this symbol, whatever I used, two hyphens. Okay. Basically, first let me tell you, we have two types of comments. Single line comments, multi-line comments. If it is single line comments, I can use this symbols. Okay, either this two hyphens, whatever I used, or else hash. Hash is also considered as a comment. If I use hash and if I write anything also, that is not executable only. Okay, like this. And what is multi-line comments in the sense? If we want to write anything as comments in multiple lines, this one you can see only single line I wrote. For the next line, again I use this symbol because this is a single line comment. If multiple lines I want to write, the symbols which we will use in this uses this first hash, asterisk, then I can write anything. Okay, like this, one line, two line. Then to end, I'll use again star and hash, like this. This is the start of my comment. This is the end of my comment. In between, I can write anything like that. Okay. So these are just general points. Before starting anything, I wanted to explain you about these points basically. Okay. I hope I'm clear about the single line comments and multi-line comments. Basically, what I'll do, yeah, every concept, going forward, I'll just show you the course content. So every day, once we are done with each concept, I will give you notes. And I don't believe in sharing some PDF files or theory kind of notes. I'll directly share this SQL file for you. So what I'll do, whatever notes, whatever theory notes I wanted to explain, I will write like this inside comments. Below, whatever syntaxes, I mean, whatever queries will be, normally I'll write that queries. And I'll share this file only as a notes for you, so that in one place only it will be available for you, like theory part and the queries, every will be available for you in one single file. And whenever you want to refer, it will be easy for you, right? Like for example, you can see this is one file. You can see here maybe this is one question. This question I used in quotes, right, in comments, and this is the query I wrote normally. Actually, let me open any another file. You can see here, this is my notes. So I mentioned I used some single line comments here, and I gave notes here at the bottom. Wherever I'm writing some syntaxes, I will write normally. So if I share this file in one file only, you can refer everything, right? That is how I'll deal with. Okay. So I hope I'm clear up to here. Let's keep this session interactive, guys. Please respond, or else you can even text in chat also.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Perfect. So now let's start the technical terms. So first, let's try to create a database. Okay. I'll create one database. Creating database. Okay. So whatever we will do from here, for everything we will have something called as syntaxes in SQL. Syntax in the sense, I can say some rule which we need to follow. Okay, we need to use that syntax to do that thing, right? For creating database also, we are having some syntax. For everything we'll have syntaxes. We need to follow that syntaxes. Okay, first let's create a database. Here I'm having so many databases. For this batch, let's create one database. And yeah, so to create the database, first I will write the syntax, and the syntax will be create database, database name. Okay, this is the syntax. This syntax we need to follow. Now let's use create database. Let me give one database name for this batch. Maybe I'll give it as SQL 6. Okay, as it is 6 p.m. batch, so I'm giving it as SQL 6. Okay, so this is my database name. So if you observe, I didn't mention comments here because this is my actual query I want to execute now. So we are going to create a database by using this syntax create database, database name. Now I'm selecting this and we need to execute here. If I'm clicking this, you can see this is the output section, and whenever we get like this green color tick mark, that means it executed successfully. If we are getting any cross mark in red color, that is that is, we if we get any errors, we can see that symbol. Okay, now this database is created successfully. Let's check. Okay, here I'm having all the list of my databases. Just now I created SQL 6. To reflect this database name here, I need to refresh here. You can see we have a refresh symbol here, right? I'm just refreshing. Now I got SQL 6 here, right? This is the database which we created. And this is how we will create the database first. Now, next, after creating database, basically we need to activate the database. Activate the database. So what is activating the database? In the sense, you can see I'm having so many databases here. Okay, suppose if I start, so if I suppose if I'm having so many databases here. Just now we created SQL 6 database. Next, whatever syntaxes I'm going to write, I want to execute all those databases. I mean all those syntaxes, all those concepts in this particular database only. So basically, without activating the database, if I write any query and if I execute, SQL will throw me error because it will get confused to which database should it use to execute. Because I'm having so many databases here, SQL will confuse that which database to use. For that reason, we need to activate the database whatever we wanted to use. Every time we need to do this process. Okay, obviously in real time we will work only for our one database, right? For clients database, no need of activating the database. But in learning purpose, in learning process, we may have like this so many databases, right? So every time we need to activate whatever database we wanted to use. Now I wanted to use this SQL 6 database, so let's activate that. And to activate the database we will use and the syntax will be use database name. Okay, this is the syntax. Use command we will use database name is the syntax to activate the database. So let's write use SQL 6 is my database name, right? I'm writing this and I'm selecting, I'm executing. You can see now SQL 6 got highlighted, right? Out of all the databases, you can see even it is, I can look this, it is visible in some dark black color, right? That is, it got into activation. Now, whatever queries I will execute, all those queries will be executed under this database only, inside this database only. Okay. So we created the database, we activated the database. I hope I'm clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. All right. Now let's create tables. Okay, let's create any table. As I said, first we will create database. Inside database, we will create a table, right? So let's create any table now. For example, now let me show you the table syntax, create table syntax. That is create table, table name. So as I showed you just now in this Excel file, so employees is my table name. In this, I used four columns: employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining, right? This is my four columns. And inside I inserted some data. Now, whenever we are creating table, we will use create syntax and we need to define the table name and how many columns we want. That many column names also we need to define. Okay. So that is what we will do. So create table, table name, we need to use parentheses, that is brackets. Inside brackets I need to mention column name. Suppose let's create the same table. Okay, that is employees table, and here I'm having four columns, right? First let me write syntax. Suppose column 1, for each and every column we will define data type. What is data type? I'll explain you in a while. Column 2, data type. Like that, how many columns we want, that many columns we can create. Okay, at the end we need to close this parenthesis. Now this is the syntax of creating table. Okay, now let me write, let's create some table. Create table, let's use same table, employees table I'm going to create. So I want same columns. First, my first column name is employee ID, second column name is employee name, third salary, fourth date of joining. So these are my column names, imagine. Now I'm just going to create some columns. Whatever column names I mentioned here, that column names only I'm creating. Okay, but just now I said every time whenever we are defining a column name, we need to define the data type as well. So before writing data types here, first let's try to understand what is data type, and then we'll get back to this create table syntax. Okay, so What is data type? Data type is nothing but this is something by using data type only. Data type is used to decide what kind of value we can store, okay, inside any column. Okay, I'm saying data type is something which is used to decide what kind of value we can store inside any column. Okay, for each and every column basically we will define data type, and by using data types only we can decide. Data types only will tell what type of value we can store in that particular column. Okay, that is, for example, this is an Excel file. Of course, in Excel file also we can store data. Then what is the need of databases in the sense? Obviously, in real time, we won't, we will store basically big data. We will deal with big data. If it is like 10 rows or 20 rows, that is okay. But it's not like that, right? In real time, obviously, we'll deal with thousands of data, or, lakhs of data. So if that is the situation, we can't handle all those big data in Excel file because we'll have some drawbacks here. Okay, so out of all those drawbacks, we are having one drawback here. For example, of course, we are having so many limitations or drawbacks in Excel, but one problem which we will face if we store data in Excel. Let's see now. Suppose this is employees table. I'm having some data here. Employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. Okay, I already gave two rows here. I gave salary as 70,000 for Raj, 56,000 for this Sam. Okay, suppose by mistakenly instead of 56,000 I entered some data like this randomly. Okay, then also it is accepting, it is not throwing me any error. It is not saying you are entering some salary and you should enter only numbers, you entered some wrong data here, or you entered some textual data here. That is not telling me like that, right? Whatever I will enter, it will accept. Correct. So this is one of the biggest drawback of Excel file. This is Excel file, right? So this is one of the drawback. So whenever we are dealing with big data, obviously we are humans, we can do any kind of human error, right? Knowingly or unknowingly, we can do any mistakes. If we are entering any wrong data like this, Excel is not stopping us to enter, it is not alerting us, right? So this is one of the drawback, and to overcome this drawback, in databases or in SQL, we will use this data types concept basically. So data type in the sense we are having, let's see types of data, how many types of data types are there in the sense. First, numerical data type. Okay. Second one is character data type, and date time data type. Like that we are having some data types. Okay, numerical data type in the sense, again it is further divided into int and float. What is int in the sense? Obviously numerical data type in the sense you can understand we can able to store, we can able to store numbers here. Okay, so inside numerical data type again we have two data types, int and float. Int in the sense we can able to store numbers, normal numbers. Okay, float in the sense we can able to store decimal values. Along with the numbers we can able to store decimal values also. Let me show you one picture, just give me a second. You can see mainly we will use these three data types. One is numerical data type, character or string data type, date and time data type. Okay, again numerical data type, I said it is further divided into two types, int and float. Basically we'll use these terms to define the numerical data type. What is integers? If we are mentioning int in the sense we are going to give numbers, we can enter numbers in that particular column. Float in the sense we can enter decimal values also, like 1.2, 2.4, like that. But along with the decimal values, float also accepts normal numbers as well. Okay, if I'm not sure whether I'm going to enter normal number or decimal number in any column, then at that time basically I can define float. Okay, like that. If I know particularly I'm going to enter numbers only, then simply I can use this integer, int, right? Like that. Next, we are having character or string data type. Basically, any kind of textual data we can store inside this. Again, it is further divided into two types, char and varchar. Okay, so what is char, what is varchar, what is this fixed length and variable length? I'll explain uh, maybe going forward. Okay, I'll just explain in a while. Okay, next, date and time data type. Again, we will have two data types here. One is date and another one is date time. Okay, let me show you. I hope whatever I'm saying that is okay for you. It is understandable for you, right? Perfect. So integer in the sense we can store numbers, float in the sense we will store decimal values, and as I said, character data type in the sense we have char and varchar. What is char, what is varchar, I'll explain you in a while. Date and time data type in the sense we will have date data type, and in which we will store only dates, and the format we will use for dates is like this: first year, then month, then date. We need to use this format only to store the dates. Okay, and next, date time data type. In this we can store, along with the date we can store time also, and the format is year, month, date, and then hour, minute, second. Like this is the format we need to follow to use this date time data type. Okay, we need to enter data like this in this format. Okay, so these are some types of data types. Along with this, maybe we will have some boolean data type also. The values will be true or false. We can see about them later, but this is the basic three types of data types which we'll use most frequently. Okay, now let's get back to this employees table and let's give this data types. Okay, so as we just understood, here employee ID in the sense I know I'm going to store some numbers like this. So if I'm going to store the numbers, I need to use either int or float, right? So let me use int here. How, where we will define data type in the sense just now, as I shown you in the syntax, after column name we need to define the data type here. Int, I'm giving int as a data type for employee ID. Okay, and varc and employee name. Here employee name is a column. Here we know we are going to store textual data, right? For that, let me give it as char. I said we have two types of data types for character data, that is char and varchar. What is this difference? I'll explain you. And one more thing here, whenever we are defining char and varchar, that is any character data type, we need to define size also. That is, here after defining data type of as char, I'll use parenthesis and I'll define some size here. Suppose I'll use 10 as the size. Okay, that is why we need to define the size in the sense here I define size as 10. That means I can enter up to 10 characters only in this particular employee name. Okay, if I enter any 11 character, 11 letter word, it won't allow me to enter, it will throw me error. What we are doing here, basically we are defining the size or we are allocating the memory for this particular column name. Okay, which I'll explain you very clearly by just showing you one example going forward whenever I'm explaining char and varchar difference. Okay, for now just understand, I mentioned char as a data type and I give size as 10 so that I can enter up to 10. Okay, like from 1 to 10 letter word I can give as a name. Okay, next, salary column. Here salaries can be sometimes float also, right? Decimal values also. It can be 50,000 or else it can be 1.2 lakh, like that, right? So for that reason I'm just giving it as float, right? because float will accept numbers as well as decimal value. It will accept if I write 50,000 also it will accept. If I write decimal values also it will accept. Okay. Next, date of joining, obviously date data type, correct? Like this, we need to write the syntax for creating table. Create table, table name, inside parentheses, that is brackets, I need to use column name and I need to define data type for each column name like this. Okay. So let me select this and let me execute. You can see now it got executed successfully. Create table, it got executed successfully, right? Now let's see. Okay, so this SQL6 is our database. We just created employees table. Just to make reflect these changes, let me refresh once here. I'm just clicking on this refresh button. You can see now I can able to expand these tables. Click on this expand button, this arrow mark. Then you can see employees. I just now created employees table. You can see that employees name here under tables, right? So if I'm clicking on the employee's name, basically in the information section, it is showing me each column name and the data type which we defined, right? Employee ID int, employee name char of 10, like that. It is showing us complete details, correct? So this is how we will create tables by using create command. Okay. I hope I'm clear about whatever concepts I said, like how to create database, activating the database, how to create the table, and what are data types. Am I clear, guys?
Yes.
So now let's insert some data. Okay, we just created the table. That is the table structure we got. Table name I gave, table structure I created. Now I want to write, I want to enter this data, right? So to enter this data, we will use insert command. Okay, insert is a command used to enter the data. Okay, inside the tables basically. So and the syntax is insert into table name values. Let me write directly. So I'm writing it as insert into table name. I need to write employees is my table name, right? Whatever we created just now, I gave the table name as employees, right? Now let me just write this at the bottom so that we can visible here clearly. Later I'll remove. So now we created the table, right? We are inserting the data, same table name I wrote. Of course, here I gave capital letter, small letter, it doesn't matter because I said MySQL is case insensitive, right? So now what we need to do, insert syntax is insert into table name, values keyword I need to use. After using values keyword, I need to enter the data. So within the parenthesis, I need to give the data, and while inserting data, I need to take care that I need to enter the data in this sequence only. First, I need to enter employee ID. I'm giving as 1. Employee name, I'm giving it as Raj, comma. Salary, maybe 60,000, comma. Randomly, I'm entering some data. Date of joining. Okay. First, I'll write, then I'll explain. Just give me a second. I'll enter one more row also here, maybe 3. Like this. I gave 3 rows here. Okay, how we are inserting data in the sense, obviously this is the column names we know, that is employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. This sequence only we need to use. So within the parentheses here, within the brackets, whatever we write inside that will be one row of data. So first value, after giving first value, if I uses comma here, if I use a separator comma, that is SQL will understand this is first column data, this is second column data, this is third column data. Like that we will use commas and we will give the data. And once we are done, then we will close the bracket. Once we are closing the bracket, once SQL sees the bracket is closed, it will understand this is first row of data. Then I'm keeping a comma and we will enter second row of data. Like that, how many rows we want, that many rows we can write like this to insert the data. Okay. And if you observe, for character data and for dates, I used it in single quotes. Either we can use single quotes or double quotes, no problem. But we need to mention character data and dates inside quotes only. Okay. Character data and date data, we should uh, use single quotes or double quotes. Okay. Basically numbers we can give normally. So for character and dates we will use quotes like this. We need, within the quotes we need to enter the data. Okay. Now let me select this and I'm executing. This is my execute button. Okay, it got executed successfully. Okay. Now whatever I executed here, to basically what I did, I created a table, I inserted the table. Now let's see the output. To see the output or to display the data, we will use select command. We have one more thing called as select command here. Maybe I'll write here. Okay, we have something called as select command, which is used to display the data. Okay. So all these things we are, whatever we are learning today, those are commands. First is create command, use it to create the, in any database, table, anything. Okay. Next, insert command, use it to enter the data or insert the data into table. Next, select command, use it to display the data. Okay. So the syntax is select star from table name. Here I can write it inside quotes. So here this is my syntax, and you can see I mentioned something called as star here. That is, technically we will call it as call this keyword as asterisk. Okay. That means whenever we wanted to display the complete data, we will use star like this. Okay. Use it to display complete data. Let's see. Suppose if I write select star from employees, right? So that is what my syntax is. Select star from table name, employees I wrote, I'm selecting and I'm executing. So now I can able to see the complete table data output, right? My whatever we created, 4 column names and 3 rows, correct? So whenever we use star, it will display complete data. Instead of that, if we wanted to display any particular data, suppose I want only employee name and salary, we can use that particular column names here after select command. Suppose employee name comma salary from employees. Okay, if I write like this and if I execute, I can get only that particular data. If I want complete data, we will use star. Okay, this is about select command. So I hope I'm clear about all these things, whatever I said, how to create database, activating the database, creating table, what is data types, inserting data and displaying the data. We are only left over with difference between char and varchar, which I will explain detailedly by taking one example in tomorrow's class. So am I clear, guys, whatever I explained till now?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Perfect. So let me show you course content quickly. Thank you, Sunita. And before that, let me share you, as you know, our course duration is of 35 days and course fees is of only 3,000. I'm just sharing you the details. Maybe our admin team. Just a second. I can't. So you can see the details, payment details or registration details. And as you attended today's session, you will also get a mail from our admin team. There also you will have this details. If you are interested, you can just get registered with us. Okay. Basically, the specialty of my teaching is that I will teach everything from scratch, and I won't normally show you and I will explain you. I will write just now how I wrote everything till the last class, till the end. I will write everything manually here and I will explain very slowly and clearly along with the examples. And most special thing here is we will use a real-time database, that is some Netflix or OTT platforms database. Okay, we will explain each and every concept here by using one live project, that is something live project in the sense of course, here just now you saw I'm having so many databases, right? So instead of learning any normal employees table, normal 4 or 5 6 rows, instead of learning here, what we are doing, obviously in real time we will deal with big data, right? So I'm taking one real time database. It is a kind of OTT platforms database or movies database, I can say. We will use that database to learn each and every concept of our course, so that it will be a kind of you can you can get some hands-on experience on working with big data. We'll have some thousands of rows in all those tables. I'm having so many tables in that database, thousands of rows. So we will learn all concepts on that database. Okay, and this is the course content: introduction to databases and SQL, limitations of Excel, creation of database and tables, then MySQL installation process, data types in SQL commands or sublanguages. Whatever commands I said now, like create command, insert command, select command, these are just mm, some commands, but we are having so many commands. All the commands are basically divided into this types, this 5 types. We'll call them as sublanguages: DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DQL. Okay. In each of the sublanguage, we'll have some commands which we'll discuss detailing. Next, integrity constraints. That is, we'll have some constraints here like primary key, foreign key, not null key, unique key, check constraint, or default constraint. All the constraints we will learn very practically here. Okay. So up to here, I will use some basics: employees table or departments table, students table, to make you understand. Okay. Once we are done with these concepts, these are very basics. Once we are done with these concepts, I will give you the real-time database and I will show you how to restore the database in your systems. And then we will start working on our main intermediate concepts, I can say. Okay, at the end we can have some from joins, I can say that is what those are advanced concepts. These are intermediate, like if I divide this into 3 parts, these are basics, these are intermediate concepts, and from joins advanced concepts. Okay. So where clause, we are having so many clauses and operators: where clause, order by clause, distinct clause, limit clause, like that. And in that we are having some operators also: or operator, and operator, nor operator, not operator, range operator, membership operator, like that. Especially like operator, which is used to search for any data patterns, pattern matching of the data. We will search any kinds of patterns. If we wanted to search in the data, we will use like operator. Okay, these are all operators and clauses. Next, functions. We are having so many functions in each of these types. We will learn each one very clearly. Next, joins. Most important concept of SQL, I can say only one thing: SQL is the backbone of complete IT industry. Whatever domain you choose, first thing you should know is SQL, right? Not only data analytics, if you are choosing full stack development, whatnot, all the any job role you can choose in IT industry, first you should definitely have sound knowledge on SQL. Okay, so in that, joins are very important. Mostly in real time, we will work mostly on joins. So we will discuss each type of join very clearly with the examples. Just now I showed you along with examples. I will teach all my concepts. You can say this is one question, this is the answer, question answer, like this. I won't normally like in most of the other institutions you can find they will teach the concept, they will explain you the syntax, maybe one example they will give and they will leave. But here that is not my thing, my way of explanation. Whatever you hear, whatever you listen, you should be thorough in that particular thing. So for that we will solve some real time examples. Okay, especially in joins, not only examples, even I'll give some assignment questions. It's again your own wish. If you wanted to solve them, you can solve, so that you can understand how much you can able to grasp joins concept. Okay, once you are ready, I'll give some time. Once you are ready, we will again solve those answers in the class so that you can validate. Okay, next, regular expression, one more important concept which is used for pattern matching again. Next, group by clause, having clause, aggregate functions inside group by clause. Next, subqueries, we are having mainly two types of subqueries, correlated and non-correlated. Next, normalizations, denormalizations, normal forms. Again, no one will include this normal forms concept here, not only theoretically, by taking one real-time example. One real-time, basically this concept is nothing but, if we get any raw data, how we will convert that raw data into a perfect database. To convert, we will use this normal forms. So I'll take one raw data and I will explain each and every normal form, and practically we will see how we are converting that raw data into normalized perfect database data. Okay, next, ER diagrams, views, indexes, temporary tables, again one more important concept, an advanced concept, CTEs, one more advanced concept, store procedure, window function. Okay, so CTEs is also, CTE store procedure windows function is also a more important and advanced concepts, right? So especially Windows function. Nowadays, if you attend any SQL interview, at least with some 2+ years of experience, you can expect this window functions in interview questions. Right? We will discuss each at the end. We will discuss interview questions also. We will discuss each one of them very clearly and practically, along with real time database. Okay, once we are done with each concept, I will send you this files only, and from the day one you will, the daily classes whatever I'll teach, that videos access you will get up to 6 months. Okay, and I'll share you the notes also. So this is about our course, and whoever is interested, you can just get registered with us. Okay, tomorrow is the last demo class. Tomorrow also demo only. Tomorrow is the last demo class. Okay, whoever interested, you can just make the payment or get registered with us. Any doubts, guys? Anyone?
Ma'am, everyday classes on the 6 p.m. or timing will change in the future?
Same timing, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. IST.
Okay, thank you.
Is this timing okay for you?
Yes, this time is the only this time is okay for me.
Yeah. Only this time only. I already have other classes. I mean, I have Tableau classes from 7 to 8 and 8 to 9. I'll take only this slot for SQL at this point of time.
Okay, ma'am.
Morning batch is available.
Morning batch currently, SQL. I'm taking morning batch already. So in nearby, only evening batch. Already one batch is started in the morning. We are in just 30% of the portion is completed. So maybe in couple of months we won't have morning batch.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other doubts, guys?
In SQL means advanced part also complete.
Yes. Yes, starting from the scratch, all the advanced concept. I didn't missed any concept here. You can even check normally also. You can check my course content, all the advanced concepts, even cities. Cities is a one concept, it is a advanced concept. You can find very rarely in the course content of SQL. We will learn this one, CT and Windows function. Very rarely you can find in any other courses, course content basically. But here all the concepts up to advanced are covered, will be covered.
Yes, my friend told me because in nowadays in interview they ask mostly advanced SQL.
Yes, of course, they will ask this one only. But to solve these questions, first we need to have basics. That is the reason we will start from scratch. And these questions from joins, these questions only you can expect in the interviews.
We can't miss any project.
Any project in the sense that is what here SQL, inside SQL we don't have any projects. What
Okay.
kind of database we are using, on what kind of database we are learning the topics is matters for you, because in real time directly once you enter in any company we will start
Mm.
working on our client's database. Obviously we will have some thousands and thousands of rows there. We should get used to it how we are dealing that big data, right? So here
Okay.
we are, that is the reason I am explaining we are using real-time database only to learn the things. I'll
Okay.
directly give you this database and I'll show you how to restore this database in your systems. Then all the concepts, whatever I'm starting from here, daily you can practice. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm having another class now. If everything is okay, I'll end the session now. Let's meet in tomorrow's class. And I said tomorrow is a last demo class. Okay. If you are interested, please get registered with us. So am I clear? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. I'm ending the session. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.